FNAF is quite the insane series. It has people possessing animatronic chickens in FNAF 1, all the way to people possessing other people through a VR headset, and then a super genius kid who's willing to kill and security breach. But what moments in particular stood out as impossible? That's what we're exploring today. Let's do it. In at 10, real Freddys. A load of people couldn't tell if I was being serious or not when the shorts we made about this topic came out, but I guarantee you that it was actually real. This isn't something that I was making up, it wasn't a hoax, it's actually a thing, okay? Freddy Fazbear's Pizza is real, or well, it was going to be, because the company that made Mr. Beast Burger possible, called Virtual Dining Concepts, did announce that they had partnered with Scott Cawthon to take the first ever fictional video game setting and turn it into a real-life delivery restaurant. Emphasis on that delivery part, however, because I cannot stress it enough, there was no actual location that you could have walked into. And it's really happening, or at least it was. Since, if you check out the Virtual Dining Concepts website now, there is no Freddy Fazbear's Pizza delivery page. And it seems like between September 30th and December 4th of 2022, they removed it off of their brands page. But there was also still a page that existed for it until December 4th, according to Wayback Machine. It's certainly an interesting situation, but yeah, it seems like nothing is actually going to happen. Maybe they canceled it. Maybe they didn't. I tweeted about it, and the account that was the official account for Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Delivery just replied with a frowny face. So I don't know. Do you think it's gonna happen? And if it does, and it releases this year, I'm gonna celebrate because I called that years ago, okay? Not because it happened, but because I called it. In at 9, Final Battle. During the true ending, or the Afton ending, the Springtrap ending, whatever you want to call it in Security Breach, everything we experience is so frickin' improbable, okay? Like beyond even protagonist standards. We have to fend off Springtrap's attempts to take control of Freddy by setting him on fire, using what are most likely the mechanisms that Henry used to set the building on fire in FNAF 6, since it's the same one. However, it's incredibly thoughtful of the ground to only give out at the perfect moments that we fall into the room that we need to have this battle, with very easy to understand monitors that are set up and connected to cameras in the various rooms that Springtrap enters, and only those rooms, he only goes into those rooms, and with buttons that light fires in the room that corresponds to what monitor it's on. Plus, I mean, like if you think about it, how are these still working? It has clearly been a while. These cameras and old computers are still working for an unknown amount of years after being set on fire in FNAF 6, which was enough to ruin the building, and then not to mention falling into a sinkhole that had opened up beneath it, having a whole pizzaplex built on top of it, and who knows what else. How is all of this working after that? And not only after that, but these computer monitors as well are literal dinosaurs, okay? Like, how did they work before the fire, let alone after it, okay? My parents have a monitor like this and it doesn't work, and I'm pretty sure we didn't throw it in a sinkhole. In at 8, Killing Where You Eat. The biggest mistake that William ever made, and I will stand by this until the day that I die, was the fact that he killed people in his establishment. It's unknown if this was always his intention, but come on, okay? Who the absolute hell thinks that this is a good idea? Who in the comments wants to justify killing your prime demographic in that place of business? Dealers don't kill their best customers, right? It's bad for business. So why would William think that this is a good idea? Literally go anywhere else, okay? It's basically like killing someone in your own house. It's putting unwanted and unneeded scrutiny on every single thing that you do. You even end up getting banned from going back in while the investigation is underway. And it's not like it helped your business, okay? You had to close the first location, resulting in you having to open another one that killed your daughter. So I think that this mistake is the one that caused literally everything in the series. Yeah, all you had to do was kill someone in a park instead, and your kids would be alive too, by the way. Yeah, you'd also be harder to suspect, and you'd be rich from the business. Wow. And at 7, Brave Volunteer. I think one of the darkest moments ever presented to us in any FNAF game is when we're trapped in the FNAF 6 pizzeria by Henry without the choice of escape. Without the choice to keep living, honestly. And before you say that this is what we wanted, remember how Henry says that the job in that game wasn't meant for us, which means that it was either meant for someone else or was just an open call, but either way, he still says, I think this is what you want. Or I have a feeling. Not I know, he thinks, meaning it's an assumption. Even though there is a way out plan for whoever was supposed to get the job, we aren't given the option. We aren't told where the exit is just in case. Henry just assumes that we want to burn to death along with everything else, which does not make sense. Sure, you want to destroy all of the evidence, but there's still, let's go over this, newspaper articles, maybe online articles now, given on how long the series had taken place up until FNAF 6. The games that Scott made in universe, the police reports, the families of the victims. And you were gonna let whoever worked here instead of us go with the exit despite them seeing everything that happened in this game. Yeah, it seems kinda sus to me. And it's even weirder that we can't search for a way out. This should have been an impossible scene, but you know what? It still happened, and I'm mad. And it's 6, Princess Quest. The whole reason Princess Quest is a thing in Security Breach was to seemingly lock Vanessa away and prevent her from regaining control of her body. So, why did William create or allow for the creation of a failsafe that allows her to escape? Come on! I mean, sure, they didn't expect some random kid to come along and figure it out maybe, but given the track record of the series, you'd think that Afton would have smartened up after like 40 years at least. But it's like any Bond villain this time around. They have a self-destruct button on the bomb that they plan to use. Or if like the Flash had a steal all my speed button on his suit. It's just stupid. And you know what, it worries me that that's actually how the Flash series could end. But like still, okay, if you want something to work, why give it a way to fail? If you tie someone up, why put a knife right next to them? I don't know. Does that make sense, or is that just my developmental issues coming into play? No matter what, this is one of the dumbest things that has ever happened in the series. Seriously, what was the point behind a way to undo your evil plans? It's one of the most ridiculous things in the story, and that's saying a lot. I get that it's so that we can save her and have like the best ending, but that ending isn't even canon. So we could have done without it. And if you want to hear me scream about FNAF more, be sure you hit subscribe, because I do it, and I do it a bit. A lot. Halfway through into number 5, Springtrap's Revenge. One of the many questionable business decisions from Fazbear Entertainment, and straight up at this point this company has like a Vatican library full of bad business decisions. But Springtrap's Revenge is a VR game that was the subject of the Fazbear Fright story in the flesh from Bunny Call, the 5th book in the series, which was supposed to be the end. The story revolves around a game theorist, I mean a game developer named Matt, who creates a Springtrap AI using all of his anger from a divorced and failed relationship, or multiple of them. And then, you know how emotions work in this game, it turns Springtrap sentient. Cause, you know, reasons. The game ends up getting too difficult, so instead Matt reprograms the game to actually torture Springtrap because he ended up getting mad at the computer AI. Yeah, then Springtrap goes nuts. But my question is, why would they make a whole VR game surrounding Springtrap and trying to survive him, when he was literally a real-life serial killer in your reality and your CEO? Sure, in our world we wouldn't really care, because, you know, Springtrap's not real. But it's not like Valve or Stress Level Zero is going around making like a Ted Bundy simulator or John Wayne Gacy survival game. No, because that would be in poor taste and way too real for anyone related to the victims of these people. So why would Fazbear Entertainment willingly make a video game revolving around the killer that ruined their reputation in the first place? It seems like a horrible idea to me. And for Free Freddy. Okay, most of my gripes are with Security Breach, I will admit, for obvious reasons. I mean, have you played the game? But in the past, I have talked a lot about the parts and service section of the game, because Gregory seems to get extremely lucky at multiple points in this chapter. However, the luckiest and the most impossible, I think, comes after Vanessa leaves Freddy in parts and service. She says that his casing is going to be put on a new endoskeleton, and after at least corporate gives the go-ahead or the green light or whatever they have to do, because someone, you know, they bring someone in on the clock to actually do it. But she doesn't seem suspicious that after she leaves him disassembled and strapped down, that he's walking around Rockstar Row 3 minutes later. Like, come on, okay? Who would have repaired him? I don't know. He couldn't have done it himself. His hands are literally strapped to the table. There is literally no other living human in the Pizzaplex at this point aside from Gregory And, you know, the whole containment cylinder thing is used to protect humans. So robots obviously aren't the ones doing the fixing. Okay, there are no staff bots in parts and service. And the reason you had to leave him there was because nobody else was working since it was after midnight. Why would Vanessa be so nonchalant about Freddy walking around after that? If I was a doctor and I left a patient sedated on a hospital bed with their chest opened, you know, and then like 3 minutes later they come say hi to me with their chest closed, I'm not gonna be like, oh hey, what's up? No, I'm gonna be concerned. So why does she just chill? She's just like, oh yeah, what's up, Freddy? I don't get it, okay? Why would she not confine him to his room after that, especially after she just accused him of helping Gregory? Getting close to the end, and at number 3, hiding spot. This is why I think at some point I'm going to get accused of being a serial killer, okay? Because of how much I complain about Afton's just blatant stupidity. How the absolute living hell did he end up getting away with putting the missing children victims into the animatronics? The smell of rotting bodies would ruin the place, alright? The heat from the animatronics insides when they're moving would only speed up decomp, and the animatronics are in front of people every single day. They even started complaining that they started leaking blood and mucus, as well as being compared to corpses. If this was real life and William getting away with this wasn't important to the plot, he would have been caught instantly. I don't know how this wasn't an open and shut case straight up. But ultimately, in at number 2, doors. If you didn't know that this was going to be on the list, you haven't been watching this channel enough. Why? Why do they open when the power is out? That makes no sense. Everyone keeps telling me that it's like electromagnets and that's the kind of thing, but like, whenever I bring this up, it doesn't work like that, okay? Electromagnets require power to turn on, so if anything, it would be costing power to keep the doors open rather than closed. Gravity doesn't work in reverse. If the magnet is off, the door would just fall down, okay? I get that it's supposed to be for gameplay purposes, but in what universe does this make sense? There is no conceivable way that these doors should have worked in that way, but they do. They do, and it makes me mad. It's the reason I go to therapy. It's the reason I'm screaming in all of these videos. It's the frickin' doors, alright? It is. And finally, in at number 1, crying child. I've had a ton of people complain to me about how crying child's death wasn't William's fault, even though I keep saying that it is, since he wasn't the one who put his head in Fredbear's mouth, and you know, the spring locks failed because he was crying. But to me, there is no logical way that the animatronic jaw would have crushed his skull. The spring locks were already active at this point and would require a lot of power to actually accomplish like this instead of just normal opening and closing. So the only way that Crying Child's skull could have been crushed was if Afton had intentionally supercharged the animatronic, which would make sense if he wanted to use it as a kill machine or a backup kill suit, or maybe it was his original plan, figuring that more power would, you know, help him kill, which clearly it does, just in the worst way possible. And there's no way that this is a spring lock failure. The Fredbear suit was already in animatronic mode, meaning that these spring lock mechanisms that could fail, that are, you know, the ones that are used to keep the robot parts out so that someone can be in the suit, aren't being used because no one's in the suit. The spring lock failure problem comes from when these mechanisms are put under stress and then can snap back into place. But if they're already in place, they can't snap back into place. If it's in robot mode, they aren't being used. And also, there's none in the mouth to begin with, it's open. Meaning that what happened should have been impossible unless it was supercharged. So unless you finally want to accept that, it belongs on this list. And you yell at me in the comments, go right ahead. And if you want to yell at me more, go check out the video that's about to pop up on your screen. Thanks for watching.